welcome to this live stream. It's Sunday, January 26th. Thanks for your welcome, Jason L. So I'm going to talk a little about some recent things that I've been working on here on the channel, and also taking questions and comments. If you have any important news, relating to guitarists or interests, please join in and let me know. We'll have a chat going live on several platforms here, so I'll be reading chats from different spots. Yesterday we released the Mercy, 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 which was requested on the channel on one of these live streams. So I do have a bit of a list that I've compiled. So if I haven't gotten to yours just yet, it's probably somewhere in the making. This next week I'm considering doing Mania de Carnaval in a chord melody style. We'll see how that all works out. So that's a tune that will be important for your repertoire if you don't already kind of have it in there. So hello, Eric. Welcome. Good morning. I'll do a little bit of playing here, and let me get my microphone over this segment. So yeah, as I'm going, feel free to ask me any questions about what I'm doing, and or what you've been working on. And here we go. Okay, thanks for joining, Lamar. Wall of guitars behind me. Yeah, these are some instruments that I use during my lessons, and also for taking on new folks who might be interested in playing guitar, but not sure which type of instrument to choose, whether nylon string or steel string, or the size that fits well. So a few different sizes, especially for kids who are starting out, and so that's got there. These ones on the upper level there are ukuleles. So okay, so Eric says, and I'll get back to your next question, Lamar, but Eric says, there's some diminished usage in there a bit. Can you talk about that? Yeah, absolutely. So here's one interesting thing about that. So there's kind of a connection in between diminished, or there can be, a close connection between diminished and dominant seventh, and dominant seventh in particular with a flat 9. So if you have an A7, flat 9, then in a sense you kind of have this diminished seventh, kind of over the A. So that was one usage where I talk about that, or I not talk about it, but I may have played a little bit on that. So you can have a chord that you're playing, maybe it's A7, and you're really playing dominant 7 with a flat 9, just omitting the root note and playing the diminished 7 arpeggio. One thing that's interesting about that, which I'm sure folks, many folks are aware, is that it's symmetrical, right? So you could call it by by A sharp diminished 7, C sharp diminished 7. And if you're not aware of it yet, it's a pretty cool concept. So E diminished 7, right? And G diminished 7. Thanks for joining, Jeffrey. But nice catch there with the ears, Eric. And perhaps I'll talk more about that throughout the video here in the live stream. Okay, let's get to another question here. Do you think of improv in terms of intervals or patterns, etc.? Says Lamar says, I tend to always think of intervals relating to the chord, but not sure if that's a proper approach. I think everybody's a little different, and if you have an approach that really works well and you're strong with that, that's a good place to be, with the intervals. Of course, in your improvisation, you can challenge yourself to branch out of that. But yeah, intervals are very powerful and important. So, and playing within the chords. Another thing I would advise is to also think in terms of the key center and be aware of all the like in the case of Black Orpheus, you're truly thinking about your tonal center and how things kind of relate to that or don't relate to it, and so there's another example where if you played a G diminished 7, or G sharp, I should say, sorry, G sharp diminished 7, then that's gonna create a lot of tension, and then your ear kind of tend to want to hear that A, right? So if I'm thinking E7 flat 9, working through these intervals, minor third, minor third, minor third, minor third, that's gonna those note collections are also gonna have a certain tension to them, so we have the interval distances, but once the ear hears a few tones, then it's gonna want to oftentimes hear maybe another interval. I guess you could look at it that way. It's gonna want to hear a half step above there, right, to fit into that. And to kind of keep moving back a little bit to this diminished usage that Eric talked about, particularly in minor, it's going to be really important to have that sound going at least a little bit, because if you have the 5 chord, oftentimes it's going to be a E7 flat 9 resolving to an A minor. In this case, I'm playing A minor 6. Okay, and then so if you look at the tones starting on the third, we have the third of E7 flat 9, the fifth, the flat 7, and the flat 9 going up minor thirds from the third of that chord. We get a diminished 7th arpeggio. So that can be pretty helpful. And then when you're thinking in terms of the diminished 7, that's going to occur in different scale note collections, 7-note scale note collections. So when you have 4 tones, diminished 7, and then you add a 5th tone, okay, with a root, then you can actually play a pentatonic type scale, which has a flat 9, so kind of dominant pentatonic with a flat 9. And if you keep adding tones, you could play, you know, the harmonic minor, A harmonic minor, and then relate it to the E7 flat 9. It also works really nicely for going to major. So at some point in this tune, we have the relative goes to the relative major, or what you might call the flat 3rd in minor. And so you can build a little extra tension, like you know, this chord sounds good, and you can improvise on that, and that's going to work well. But you know, sometimes you go through a few choruses, maybe you want to do something a little bit different. So yeah, we have the you could flat the 9, okay, which gives you another diminished type chord, but so the kind of associated scales might be a little bit different, but the tones that you're using, let's say the 5 tones, including the root note, are very similar to, or kind of relatively the same as that E7 that we did. But we're maybe surrounding it with more like C harmonic major rather than a harmonic minor. Okay. All right. But yeah, you know, really, on major, there's, in minor too, yeah, just have to be careful on minor about, or you can be careful about minor, because sometimes mixing in the major 3rd on a minor chord is, can be a little bit confusing to the minor quality. So, but kind of what I'm getting to is, you can use all sorts of different choices on the dominant 7. You know, you can play altered type things to resolve, and have different note collections and different sounds, like Eric is saying. Yeah, to this point, Larry Carlton talks about thinking in sounds. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's really cool. Eric says also, so whether it's intervals or scales, it's just how it relates to harmony, as you explain nicely. Okay, thank you. Yeah, and that's, you know, that's the kind of the thing, you know, through working with folks, especially privately, and also just kind of seeing what's going on out there and on the internet with YouTube and discussions that folks are having. I feel like a lot of folks are kind of stuck in scales. So one way you might just break out of it is by using different ones, especially on the dominant 7, because there's just you know, that's one really well-worn path for changing things. You know, so if you're going G7 to C, you know, you can still play that Phrygian dominant, just like the C harmonic minor. You know, you can do that sound on that. You change it up, you know. So, and then see if you like that sound or that flavor on it, and you might just like it before one chorus, and then the next chorus do something entirely different. You know. keep your pianist on their toes, if there's one in the group. But if it's just you and bass, it's kind of like pretty easy to do anything you like. But if you use backing tracks or kind of play on your own, then you may want to try to see how it contrasts. So there are a couple different distinctions in playing lines. There is the concept of superimposing harmonies, right? So you in that, with that perspective, you say, okay, well, maybe the pianist is playing something like this, and you're not at all concerned, or maybe you desire something that just kind of clashes with that for some extra tension or just kind of a cool sound. So it doesn't have to match from that perspective of superimposition. You superimpose. You can superimpose a whole different progression, like A minor, or A flat minor, A flat minor to D flat 7, right? And all the while, the chordal player is playing G13. You can just kind of get inside. You get your ear inside that sound, which is going to sound pretty outside. But yeah, so many different kind of flavors on sounds. Of course, there's octatonic kinds of sounds too, right? Or I hate to use octatonic, the word octatonic. You can use the whole half diminished or the half whole diminished. I say that because technically octatonic is a 8-note scale. We're used to hearing pentatonic, and oftentimes folks will think either major or minor pentatonic. And then hexatonic, that's another one I'll be exploring and talking about from time to time. 6-note scales. Heptatonic, that's just kind of like what we typically work with in music. So I don't think anybody really says that word so much, but I kind of wish it were more in common usage, because I think it's really important to start stacking, dividing the octave in many different ways. Taking a G7, take an octave, make it 4 tones, make it 5 tones, right? Make it 6 tones. Make it 7 tones, right? And 8 tones, and so on like that. Okay. So Crossroads of Worships asks, what's a good price for that guitar, AS200? Yeah, I would say you're in the right neighborhood there. I guess it depends on new or used. And it depends on what you use guitar for. Investing a lot of money in one instrument, like this style, I can think is I would think is a good idea investment. Whatever you tend to use the most, so I would put something into something that you might use over the course of your lifetime or career, or something like that. But Yeah, if you look at used ones, try to go to a store, or find someone who plays it locally or is selling it locally, or make sure you have a good return policy on it. But I think this is a good, well-rounded instrument. But there are some other really cool instruments. The Ibanez, I'm not sure how much this one costs, but there's this new Matheny model, which could really be worth looking into. It depends on what you play. But that one it sounds fantastic. One of our viewers here has gotten one pretty recently, and it sounds fantastic. I've heard him play it on it, and it sounds really good. But diminished scales are really, really kind of interesting. Or diminished scales, or diminished arpeggios, are really, really kind of cool. To think about. I think if you were to take, the let's say A flat diminished 7, right? We could point that sound in a half step above any one of those tones. So experiment with that, or a whole step below, really, too. So so you go, say, right? So then you're kind of suggesting that, right? A minor, right? Let's say we're doing C minor. All of a sudden we're in C minor. E flat minor. So try that. Let's do one more. G flat minor, or G sharp minor, I should say. Or sorry, excuse me. Still waking up here. F sharp minor. All right, so experiment with that, and you can have those go up to major and all that as well. So pretty cool. Eric, yes, it is the one with the Charlie Christian pickup. Yeah, very cool. Very, very. They really. It looks nice. It's the Matheny model. There's a black one, and there's a natural or blonde color, and I just feel like it's got such nice balanced look to it. Very elegant, hollow body. Interesting. I was checking out Tim Lurch, who's got a YouTube channel and all this, and so sometimes I check in with his videos. I think he's got some pretty good perspectives on stuff, and I don't know him personally, but I was watching this one, and he plays a little bit on that, so you might want to check it out at some point. But he has I think her name is Linda Meisner. He has like one of the custom, like a custom built, something very similar, like maybe it's just ES-175. I don't know if it has the same pickup system, but he which is completely understandable, would really kind of prefer to keep that at home or in studio, and then go out and do gigs and stuff on the Matheny model. So he got the Ibanez Matheny model. So you may or may not know this, but Linda Meisner, I'm pronouncing her name right. She's a Canadian guitar maker, and she's made guitars, for Matheny. Not so much the electric ones. I can only speculate on why that is, but he probably has some sort of sponsorship relationship with Ibanez that kind of keeps him on that Ibanez, and they're great instruments too. But anyway, the more some of the acoustic guitars that he plays on tour and stuff are by her, and the Picasso, I believe it's called Picasso guitar, with all the crazy different strings going in different Manzer. Okay, maybe Manzer. What I should do is look up her name, Linda Manzer. Let me look that up because I don't want to spread bad information. Manzer, yes, Linda Manzer, and out of respect for her, because she's very accomplished, or out of respect for anyone, really. Spell her name correctly. Pronounce it correctly. Okay, Linda, Manzer. You're correct. Yeah. Yeah, and she makes archtop and flat top, I believe. I was checking out her website. It's pretty cool. So, check her out. But yeah, the Ibanez, I like the Ibanez. They're good, but Gibsons are good too, and check out what works for you. Like we were talking about with the intervals earlier. If interval approach you're really strong with that, and you just try to keep yourself branching out and learning more things, then go for it. And then as far as guitar, it's kind of what speaks for you. I really like this instrument for its versatility and its quality, and price. I believe is reasonable for what it is. So I think decent value for money there. But try things out. Sometimes I've got guitars that fit certain purposes, for different projects that I do. So if you're looking for something as an artist kind of thing, then you might try to find that special instrument. I don't know. Yeah, Tim does play Telly a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Telly's another one that I'd be interested in pursuing. I think for the time being, just kind of doing what I'm doing, working with one instrument works out pretty well for me. One thing just financially, but also for recording, if I'm really trying to make efforts to learn the process of recording and mixing and mastering at whatever level I can get to over time here. So just working with, I think, one instrument and trying to EQ it and get it. That's kind of working for me where I'm at right now. So I think I will continue to use this for quite some time, and who knows, maybe indefinitely. So Eric says your guitar sounds great. Appreciate it. I did order a little cover for I think it was $6 or $7, and it might even arrive today. To cover up the truss rod for me, I had a truss rod cover. Um, I just I didn't want to. I didn't like it saying prestige on it. I just I don't know. It didn't feel like I don't know. I get the product line and all that, but just having the word on the guitar for me just I don't know. Didn't suit me that well. Because I'm just not really looking to be like kind of prestigious, or anything. I'm just trying to do what I'm doing and help some folks out. Try to play some decent sounds and stuff like that. But I do like the guitar. But the teletype sound is really cool. Bill Frisell and his sound, very, very cool, and can get some really chimey tones and delays. It sounds really neat. Yeah, the Telecaster with the F-hole. That is, yeah, exactly. I think they call those the thin line. Yeah, Jeffrey, thanks for reminding me of that, because that would be kind of the direction I think I probably would go with that if I were to invest or purchase a Telecaster, because I think those are pretty cool. And there are different makers. G&L has some nice kind of F-hole ones with the F-hole on the one top side there. Very cool. Yeah, and I think Tim reviewed some of those instruments. Mistaken. So those are very cool. Ted Green, of course. Mike Stern, who plays quite a different style with the sort of Telecaster, and now he's got a signature model by Yamaha. What else am I thinking about? I think Julian Lage has played with the Telecaster at least a little bit. What else can I think of? Or let me know who you think of. But thanks everybody for joining today. Really appreciate it. I'm gonna stay on for a few more minutes. Welcome your questions and comments. Maybe I'll play some here. Okay. Playing around there a little bit with the Watch What Happens. So released that a week or so ago, and so hopefully you enjoyed playing on that. If you check that video out, and just released a video on the Mercy, Mercy, Mercy. Joe Zawinul really works out nicely on the guitar, so I hope you enjoy that that arrangement of that. Please check that out if you haven't already. So I'm gonna head out here in a minute or two. Thanks so much, Eric, for joining. Jeffrey and Lamar earlier on. Ignacio, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining. So I'll stay on a couple more minutes. I did some advice on guitars today. Talked a little bit about this one. Talked a little bit about some other styles of guitar, and yeah, I would encourage folks to play, any guitar. It doesn't have to be a particular guitar, to play jazz tunes. Or I think there's an interesting early Joe Pass video of him playing a Fender Jaguar, I believe, or Mustang, one of those. And that's a solid body, and sounded really great on it. So it's sort of the sound that you hear internally, and what guitar serves that best, or at any given moment in time. Having a variety of instruments is helpful too, especially if you're doing concerts. Mathini's a great example of that. Vary your the sound of your instrument by just changing the instrument, doing like some wild MIDI guitar, or doing electric guitar, hollow body guitar, acoustic steel string, acoustic nylon, all that. All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to head out for today. Thanks so much for joining. I do appreciate it. And I will see you all hopefully next Sunday. I plan to be out again and talking more about guitar and improvisation. I'll mention that as we were talking about Eric earlier, I played a little bit of a line, sort of diminished sound prior to the E flat there on Watch What Happens. So so a little bit of that. So appreciate everybody joining here. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, turn on notifications. I should be back next Sunday, although there are some baseball activities that are going to be coming up. So the time may be a little flexible, may move around a little bit. So thanks so much for joining once again, and I will see you all in the next one.